Oh yeah, the Titanic thing. That was really tragic. I have the Titanic behind me. For those of you not aware, down at the wreck of the Titanic, there's like a submarine that can have like 5 people on board.
From having
And it's missing.
been in it and having experienced it, and you talk about the mechanical issues, what's your, I know it's purely a guess, but what is your best guess?
I can tell you exactly. There's only a few possibilities. So
This is, for one, this is horrifying. This company takes really wealthy people down miles under the ocean to tour places like the Titanic. I think this company specializes in the Titanic. And my understanding is you basically pay $250,000 and then you go down in this little 5-person submersible and then you tour the site. They show you around and it's whatever. Interesting concept. It seems a little like janky. It doesn't seem like this is, it's probably not something I would do, but you know what? It's an interesting thing nonetheless. Yeah, $250,000 a person is apparently what this costs. Yeah, the video showing the inside was super sketchy. I think that this is probably a company that built this thing completely from scratch, because you can't just order a submarine that goes 2.5 miles under the surface. So it's not that easy to just do. But there's a lot of stuff about this story that now seems really obvious. Like, yeah, something of course was going to go wrong, but they've been doing this for years. Apparently they have experience, and this is the first time there's ever been a major problem like this. But basically they went down, I think it was Sunday or maybe early Monday. It's weird because of time zones, but they went down to tour the site first thing in the morning, and they lost communication with the sub, I think like 45 minutes into it. And since then, they have not heard anything. They've not located it. They can't get any distress signals or pings or anything. And this thing is separate. It's not like it's attached to a cable, because if you're attached to a cable all the way that goes to the surface, not only is that a lot of weight, which can make it really difficult to get this thing moving freely in an agile way, but also that's just a disaster waiting to happen when you consider like getting tangled on different things. So just it could go badly. So this is like a freely operating submarine, and it's just gone. Like, they don't know where it is. But this is one of the guys that knows about it. It hurts me to be watching a News Nation clip, but I mean, here we go.
It has 7 different ways to return to the surface, different ways of releasing ballast or inflating air balloons or using the propellers. So there's backups of backups of backups. So if it is not at the surface, then only one of 2 things could have happened. Either it snagged on something like a big fishing net or even part of the Titanic, or there was a leak, in which case it would implode instantly and it's over. So
and those are their 2 options. Like, it got snagged on something down at the wreck site or around it, and now it can't move. Or there was like a power outage. That was another thing I heard. Maybe there was a power outage, in which case I think they said that there's redundancies. So basically, if power goes out, there's a manual thing that happens where it will basically release balloons that will cause the thing to float to the surface. But the whole thing is sealed tight with like 17 bolts around the hatch from the outside, because if you are doing this, in theory, there shouldn't ever be a case where you're not around the support staff that will retrieve it and then open the hatch. So there doesn't need to be an internal way to open it. That just could be another disaster waiting to happen. Somebody accidentally bumps it or twists it while they're all that way down and something happens. So like, it seems like either they got caught on something and they're trapped down there. There was some failure in the actual structure. And if that happened, the whole thing goes from the size of a minivan about to the size of a mini fridge instantly. I mean, with all 5 people inside, it will crush like that instantly because the weight of the water around it. Or power went out and they floated back to the surface with one of these redundancies, and now they're bobbing on the top of the ocean waiting for somebody to find them, and hope to God that somebody finds them before they run out of oxygen because it's sealed tight. I think they have until early Thursday. It's like I think it was like 1 a.m. Central Time in the US on Thursday, or maybe it was like midnight Thursday Eastern or something like that. It was around then. They have maybe a day of oxygen left if they're still down there. But it seems as though most people who really know what they're talking about with this stuff are saying that this probably is just an instance of a catastrophic failure where like a hairline fracture occurred in the glass or in the frame of it or something, and once that happens, because of the weight, it will just instantly crush. There's just nothing you can do. So yeah, they said 2 hours ago, the Coast Guard said that there's only 40 hours of breathable oxygen left. And that's assuming that they're still down there and conscious. Most likely because they lost contact immediately and they've been looking around where it should have floated to the surface and they can't find it. Most likely there's a catastrophic failure and they were already gone and there's no hope for any sort of recovery. And the other piece is that if it got snagged on something, this is what's really horrifying. Say they got caught on some structure down there. If that happens, and let's just say they find them, there's nothing they can do. Like if they find them down there and they're like, oh, well, they're right here at this location, this depth, they can't get them. They're like, oh, okay, that's where they are. So, oops. Why? Because there's like 3 submarines on the planet that are designed to go down that depth. Like 3 on the planet. Nuclear submarines don't go that low. So they find them. There's just not much you can do. It's horrifying. But like we're talking about such insane depths. There are literally more people that have been into space than have been at that depth in the ocean. Just need a really long stick. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's just it's horrifying. But this is the thing. It's a very dangerous activity. It's a very dangerous way of exploring. There's a reason the ocean is less charted than the moon's surface, and it's because it's extremely difficult to get down there and it's extremely dangerous. One little crack, a hairline crack in the glass or in the frame at that depth will instantly crush you. Like Mystery said, 6,000 psi down there. That's pounds per inch. Yeah, think of a polar bear standing on a stool that goes down to a point the size of like a dime or a quarter. And then one of those all over your body and all over the frame of that vehicle. That's how much weight is being pushed in. Like a full-size SUV, an Escalade that goes down to a quarter. That's how much pressure is being put on one spot. I just did that unironically. I'm sorry. Being put on that one spot. That's outrageous. So I wish them all the best. If they can recover them, that will be one of the craziest stories of the year, no doubt. That would be amazing. But let's just be perfectly clear. Almost certainly, this is an instance of a catastrophic failure of the cabin, in which case, instantly. But I hope they're okay. I hope they're okay and they can find them, because I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It's horrifying. He took my thing.